Look, I'm unstoppable. Forget your defense, nothing but an obstacle. Run it back, switch it up, call it audible. Serving up them Hail Marys till the game over with the showstopper. So hot, you gotta blow on it. I said I'll huff and I'll puff, then I'll pass to my left while I'm looking to my right. Hit him right in the chest. It be looking like magic. Better give me the throne. I ain't talking about Patrick, but I rep my home. I'm never at the end of my zone. I'm bad to the bone. Eating up these pig skins like they chicharrones. And you a douche cabron. Mira, mira at the mirror on the wall. I'm the greatest of them all. They gon' put me in the hall. Your name is only written in a bathroom stall. Quit your stalling and make a play. My drive too long. Pop the clutch, I don't pump the brakes. I know what it takes to gain the muscle, get rugged. These butterfingers be fumbling. Squash the scrimmage and rub it in Robitussin. How I give them concussion. They see in double, they rushing and pass the shovel. The dirt and rubble, I bury them under it. Stay in your huddle and get 10 yards back. Never turn your back. I'ma pull your flag. I go full contact. Out punch, out kick like a shotgun.
All right, and we are live on a I'm not going to say unusual, but, well, okay, we'll say unusual in the way that it's just like we're coming to you on a Saturday rather than a Tuesday. That's fine, okay? Listen, we're here, okay? We hope you're enjoying your Saturday afternoon, hopefully bringing you some good news, some good stuff. I know there's a lot of crazy weather out there. I don't know how you guys are. It's very windy out here in KC, so, I don't know how you guys holding up.
It's pretty good here for now.
Yeah, we had a tornado warning at like 6 a.m.
Oh, okay.
No, we're fine.
Yeah, I had those the last 2 days. So today it's 67 degrees right now.
67?
Yes.
Yeah, it was 68 here yesterday, so I get it. But hey, listen, we're actually live. Let's just go ahead and just get to it. Welcome back to the HorseSHoe Mob podcast, where we're coming to you with everything Colts related, and eventually, we might just go ahead and slander some Titans fans. But like I said, we'll leave them alone for right now. They're going through enough. They have Ryan Tannehill at quarterback. So in the meantime, time to introduce the guys. So first we have with us Josh Sr., everybody.
What's good? Back in the building once more.
There you go. All right, just Blaze. All right, and then we have with us Austin Cook.
What's up? I'm Austin.
Yeah. I'm just Chris Jackson, so don't even worry about me, all right? But yeah, man, how's everything going, man? How's been this week with news, trying to figure out who our quarterback is? How's that going?
It's everywhere. There's people have opinions on everything.
Absolutely. So with that being, no, go ahead, Josh.
Yeah, like Austin said, there's a lot of speculation between this quarterback, that quarterback, this quarterback, free agent quarterback. It's just been a whirlwind right now until April get here and the NFL draft get here. It's gonna be a lot of speculation. We're just gonna be going through the motion right now.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean that's exactly what we're dealing with right now, because everything is speculative right now. It's just like it's a lot of smoke screens, teams trying to paint quarterbacks a certain way, just going about how they're going to be picking. I think it's just like they've had something to say, both positive and negative, about all the quarterbacks. And I'm gonna say we've heard positives and negatives with every single prospect that we're dealing with right now. But I'm going to say it's just like with some prospects, it's just like the positives, I'm going to say, more so outweigh the negatives. But I mean, you have somebody like Bryce Young who they've been trying to say, okay, well, he has all these red flags. But, the biggest red flags is the size, being what they consider 5'10" and 182 pounds is less than ideal for a quarterback. But he checks off literally all the boxes when it comes to his arm, accuracy, everything else. So I mean, how do you go about and I'm gonna say this kind of leads into the next thing, but what is the strategy for picking a QB? Like, what do we believe is like truly the strategy for picking a QB, and what is Steichen's strategy for picking a QB at this time?
Um, well, when you talk about strategy, Chris Ballard said he wants somebody with an accurate arm, good decision making, just what you would want out of any quarterback, really. I think Steichen's offense calls for more of a running type quarterback,
Mm-hmm.
which I would say any of the prospects, anybody that we're talking about can run.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, and it's funny that you mentioned like what Ballard said because he's just like he wanted somebody or he's looking to pick someone who has accuracy, but then Steichen said a couple days after that he's just like you can teach accuracy, like you can coach accuracy because I mean that's a huge thing. But what about but Josh, what do you say in regards to like what you believe Steichen's offense is going to need? Because the thing is, do you think we're going to see something like what we saw in Philly, or do you think that he's going to kind of like revamp and then just go like a whole different route with it?
Well, it's based on. I mean, watching his presser the other day. I think it was before the pro day started. He was speaking on because they asked him questions for us. Does he have to have a running quarterback like he did with Jalen Hurts? And he said he don't have to have that. It's good to have that the tool, have that attribute in a quarterback that can scramble, make plays when they're broken, extend plays to downfield. But it's basically would be regarding the quarterback that we choose. If we get uh, obviously Rice and Stroud not a really they're a scrambling quarterback. They more so of a pocket quarterback. But you got Anthony Richardson and Levis will run. So it depends on what quarterback that falls to us at 4, or if we move to 3, you get our quarterback. Right now there's a lot of speculations that and a lot of mock drafts saying that we can get Anthony Richardson, and we know what he can do with his arm and his legs.
Mm-hmm.
or
Yeah.
trade.
What are you about to say, Austin? I already know exactly.
Yeah.
I already
What if
know
we
you're
trade
saying.
for Lamar Jackson?
And
Well, yeah, that's different.
that I haven't ruled out. And you know what? It's interesting because I think you posted on the HorseSHoe Mob page on Twitter. Go follow. It was posted the other day that they said that they want 2 firsts, right? Now the thing is, when you say 2 first, you're talking about potentially 2 future first. So what if the scenario would be to give up the 2024, 2025 first round picks?
Then I'm all game. Do it.
Because the thing is, I'm going to say that in that case, like being able to go ahead and still be able to draft in this one and then also get that quarterback, I think that puts you light years ahead rather than having like the first this year, first next year, which, like I said, yeah, you get Lamar, but at the same time, it's just like if you hold on to this year's first, you get Lamar and potentially get a Willie Anderson that will severely bolster your defense, or be able to go after, like I said, a cornerback of your choosing, or go after basically at that point you get best player available. But at the same time, it's just like you're also going to be getting a lot of different options that you wouldn't normally have. But here, and then we do have a detractor who says not going to happen. So the reason why I want to say that this is a possibility is because of the fact that, I think the Ravens understand that you're going to have to pay him a lot. But I think for me personally, it's like you don't necessarily have to do. I think it's the same thing that we saw with AJ Brown last year, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like we saw that AJ Brown was saying that he should get X amount and that he should get, X amount of years. He did end up taking a deal that was close to that, but the thing is, those numbers were inflated by the fact that he was only going to be getting X amount. The rest were incentives. Now, of course, he helped that offense drastically. So I'm guessing probably hit on all those incentives, but I don't think it's ever a bad thing to, go ahead and just see what's out there. I mean, Irsay said that they don't do fully guaranteed contracts, but Lamar also said that he's not looking for a fully guaranteed contract. So, I mean, there you have to weigh your options a little bit. But I know what you said, Austin, about how you feel about Lamar Jackson, but it's just like how we feel about getting Lamar Jackson. Let's just say if it did come down to giving up a first round pick this year, first round pick next year.
I'd definitely be excited. It would definitely make our offense better, like immediately. Bringing in a 26-year-old that's already won an MVP, that shown he can throw if he has anybody to throw it to, and he can also run better than almost any quarterback I'd say in the whole league. Justin Fields is on the come up, but I think he's a better runner than him as of right now.
Yeah. And then what about you, Josh? How would you feel, like I said, if it came down to a first this year, first next year?
Like Austin said, you know what you're getting from Lamar. You know what type of quarterback he is. He's already established. He don't need a development stage. He don't have to sit down a year or two before playing. He's gonna immediately make our offense that much deadlier, especially with JT at back. Not saying that the run backs he had in Baltimore were bad, but none of them were on JT level the past 3 years.
Mm-hmm.
So that make our offense much deadlier. I mean, yeah, we got Pittman, the receiver, and we got Isaiah McKenzie, we got Michael Pittman, and we got and Ashton Doolin, a receiver, and then you got nice tight ends. He loves tight ends, so you got Jelani Woods, Granson, and you have Ogletree. You just have a list that he can throw to. And of course, he like to run. He's gonna run. He's gonna run. Which like you said, it's part of Steichen's offense. He had a lot of mobile quarterbacks outside of Rivers, so it makes our offense go from dead last to potentially top 10, top 5.
Yeah, and you know what? I want to. Because there's a couple more comments, but they said the cost is too much, which I see that. Like I said, I see like the first this year, first next year is a tough ask, But the biggest thing I'm going to say is just like giving up a first round pick this year. It's just like you either know that you're going to have a franchise guy who's a proven commodity.
Mm-hmm.
Or you're going to have a guy that you're just going to have to draft and then hope that you'll be able to go ahead and just develop them properly and do what you need to do. So the thing is, for me personally, because there's a couple ways you go about it. If we're being skeptical, it's just like, okay, this does come with a lot of question marks. Is injury going to be an issue? Which to me personally, I don't foresee things breaking down the way that we saw them break down this past season, where you see that, the O-line wasn't nearly as good as they've been previously. But at the same time, it's just like that would be cause for concern because you want him to come in and just play behind a pretty decent O-line. But I mean, that there is risk with that. So that's fine. But the thing is, if I'm being more optimistic, I'm also talking about the fact that Steichen is going to come in and he's going to play and do exactly what it is that he needs to do on a, I'm going to say, week-to-week basis. Like he's going to have the team set up properly to be able to make sure that Lamar's not thrown in those same situations that Greg Roman had Lamar in last season. We're not going to have those breakdowns. I have a feeling it's just like, well, we're going to go after another wide receiver. They'll probably, I want to say with those first 2 picks, they'll probably end up addressing offense. Because no matter which way you go about it, you're going to need to bolster the O-line and you're going to need to bolster that wide receiver core.
I still think they should go after at least go after DeAndre Hopkins. At least get a flyer. I know right now they say his contract is the issue right now, because he's roughly at 19 million for the season. So there's going to be an issue right now because I don't know if Arizona going to take half of that or, it's just a lot of questions because they want, 2 seconds for him?
Well, I think they I don't even think they want 2 seconds. I think at this point they're just throwing stuff around. I
Okay.
think it was reported that that was the case, but I don't think that's absolutely the case.
Also, when you talk about giving up draft picks, we gave up a first and a third to take a chance on Carson Wentz getting back to what he was.
Yeah.
Like, Lamar hasn't dropped off.
No,
He's
he
still
hasn't.
been a good quarterback. So giving up 2 firsts rather than a first and a third, it's not like
It's not too much. Yeah.
for a proven quarterback.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
I mean, let's say, even if we try to acquire Aaron Rodgers, it's still gonna require first at least.
And he's
That's-
about 40.
And he's about 40. So
I think Rodgers is probably going to go for less, but that's just because of the fact that you know that you're getting a 2-year rental. Like this is but Aaron Rodgers to the Jets is a boomer bust thing. Like that's basically them just trying to get somebody in there as soon as possible. And that's the Packers trying to offload that contract because I mean his contract is awful.
Yeah, $50 million.
Yeah. So, but you know what? But then I want to address his comment, and then, like I said, we'll just go ahead and just move on. But it says, "What's up, fellas? Teach accuracy, lol." Well, he said that's hard to do if someone just doesn't have it, or if someone just doesn't have it, they don't have it. If we're taking Anthony Richardson, definitely risky in that area. So, the one thing that I want to be cognizant of is the fact that you have. I don't think there's any quarterbacks in the league right now that you consider top quarterbacks that are absolutely just like that were, just absolutely proven prospects coming out of college. And I mean, if we're looking at that, it's just like you might have a case with Burrow, but who's the top quarterback in the league right now?
Mahomes.
And Mahomes, by all accounts, didn't have the most stellar college career, but the thing is, once again, if we're talking about Richardson, we're talking about the fact that he could potentially go, and I'm going to say, if you're putting him in situations where you're not having to air the ball out 40 yards on every single play, but rather you're going through a lot of progressions, there's no possible way that you could have an issue with Anthony Richardson if he's in the right system. Now, remember, Jalen Hurts last year was absolutely phenomenal. And Hurts always, to me, it's just like it's not just the stats that you're looking at. It's not just like the regular stuff. It's more so about like the intangibles, like the intelligence behind it. I think athletically, Anthony Richardson is fantastic. Are there some things that can be changed? Are there some things that can be taught? Absolutely. But once again, I think we're looking for a quarterback to go out there day one and just be phenomenal. And I think that's a terrible, lofty expectation, especially when the only quarterbacks that have been able to do that are those true generational talents like Andrew Luck and like Peyton Manning. And I don't want to hold anybody to that standard because that's an extremely unfair standard.
Yeah, and to talk on teaching accuracy, something that I watched, Joe Milton, he started not this past year, but the year before, the first 2 games, his accuracy was not good. He overthrew everybody pretty much. And then he got hurt and Hendon Hooker came in. And then at the end of last year, when Hendon Hooker got hurt and Joe Milton came in, you could tell a complete change. Like, it got me excited for this coming year when he's going to be the starter all year.
Yeah.
So like, I think you can teach accuracy. Yeah. It's just if the player's willing to learn.
Exactly.
I mean, it's the same thing with Jalen Hurts. His first 2 seasons with Philly didn't go too well. I mean, yeah, he made the playoffs the second year with Serini, and then we know what happened this past season. So we say accuracy can be done. He's a proven commodity, proven quarterback, we see that. I mean, Cam Newton was bad at accuracy coming out of Auburn, but he won a national championship and he was picked number 1 overall.
Mm-hmm.
You think Carolina had a problem with that? I guess what they did. They went to the Super Bowl. Yeah, he lost, but we say that over and over and over, but we still have past quarterback history that that had issues with accuracy, and they still was drafted at a high level. I mean, we can say RG3. I mean, I can keep going. We can keep going and going and going, and lists get longer and longer. Those quarterbacks. I mean, RG3, his problem was more health, not quarterback play. So,
Yeah.
I mean, I can keep going, but I mean, that's for another topic, another day.
Yeah.
Yeah. It won't be like immediate success, like you said. Like it's going to take time with any rookie quarterback we get this year. So,
Yeah. And I mean, and let's be honest, 4-12-1 was the ceiling for last year. Imagine going into this year knowing that you'll be able to go in there and go, let's just say you go 9-8. Has that not been a complete turnaround if you do have a rookie under center?
Hell yeah.
from 4-12,
Yeah.
9-8
Like
is possibly making the playoffs in the South.
Like and the thing is for any fans that are watching, nobody that we get except for possibly outside of Lamar is going to turn us from 4-12-1 to 13-4. Like, let's just get that out the way now. Like, I understand that we have expectations because we've been this team that was great for years and years and years. But the thing is, we also have to temper our expectations. We may not come out the box just firing on all cylinders. There's still probably going to be some hiccups and growing pains because of the fact that this is while we did retain a lot of players, this is going to be a fairly new team. So I mean,
I think we're going 17-0.
Sir, only place that you go 17-0 is on TikTok, sir. All right, let's just get that out the way now. You go 17-0 on TikTok when you go and you pick with your teams and whatnot. So yeah, but yeah, and then he said you have to cut about 3 good players. That's why, and you might not get them back if the Ravens match it. But technically, you don't have to cut 3 players because let's just say any contract that you go and that you give Lamar, you can pretty much just put the contract out there any way that you want. You can go ahead and have it set up so that you can set him up with a 6-year, $220 million contract and only be paying him $20 million for the first year and then pay him $40 every year after that. The thing is, there's different ways to go ahead and work the money. Lamar's already said that he's not looking for a fully guaranteed contract. He said that he's not looking for certain things. Like I said, the only thing that he's looking for is just more in terms of that guaranteed money. And the reason why he's looking for more guaranteed money from the Ravens is probably because of the fact that he knew that they were telling him that he had to do more with less. He's had to do more with less in every single season.
Nobody want come there. Nobody.
There's no wide receiver that Lamar Jackson has ever had that you would go and put in the top 10, albeit the top 20 wide receivers any year that year. And mind you, this is what Rashad Bateman, Hollywood Brown, Devin Duvernay. These guys are going to be second and third options on any and damn near every team, except for maybe the Patriots, but we all know how that goes.
Yeah, the only target that they gave him is Mark Andrews.
Exactly. And the thing is, you know that if you take away Mark Andrews, then he's going to have to run. And this is in Greg Roman's one-dimensional, very predictable offense. So let's not, like I said, I'm not going to continue to go and say that, oh, well, Lamar is just doing this, that, and the other. You put Lamar on damn near every other team, I guarantee you, yeah, he's going to go ahead and make something shake. Because everybody that he was drafted with immediately got wide receiver help.
Okay. I want to address the first part of it. What's the issue with, cutting or trading 3 good players? I mean, if you're going to get an immediate quarterback play to get us to jumpstart a slight rebuild, why not get rid of those guys? I mean, I'm not advocating for it, but I mean, if you're going to get a quarterback, which quarterback has been an issue for the past 6 years, and you get a quarterback that's, that rarely come available, why not? Why not get rid of, Kenny Moore or get rid of, another piece that, potentially we can have to replace? Why not? If you're going to get a quarterback that's already polished or polished.
Yeah. And like the thing is, I don't think that it would ever come down to us having to cut players or anything along those lines, because if you're going into this, you know exactly how you're going to pay, and you know exactly how you're going to be dealing with that. Now the thing is, are there certain players that then would possibly not be able to be re-signed later on down the line? Possibly. But I mean, once again, that all depends on exactly what the timeline is or exactly what the thought process is. Because the thing is, it's just like if you go after Lamar, then you know that with this team, you have a real chance to be able to do some damage. And honestly, it's just like like the AFC South is probably the most wide open that it's ever been. I don't see, like, the Texans to me haven't gotten any better. The Titans have actually gotten worse, and I mean the Jags kind of are just still right where they're at. But 9-8 won the division, which means that if 9-8 is not, if 9-8 is what the goal is right now, then you're saying that 9-8 is where you want to be so that you could potentially win the division. So I mean, for me, it's like I don't see Lamar being a bad decision. I just think it's just like, just long term, it's just like if you know for a fact that you'll be able to get that out of you, if you know that you'll be able to get that out of a player who's already established and already accomplished, and you'll be able to game plan around him so that you know exactly like how to do certain things, then that's fine. Because I think we're also overlooking the fact that we also have a run game, to which the Ravens, ever since Mark Ingram left, have not. It's been J.K. Dobbins, Justice Hill, and Gus Edwards. And none of those guys are, setting the world ablaze. So let's just get that out the way now.
You got a good point.
But, and then, like I said, just was going to cover this. And like I said, we decided to make it a pretty quick episode. But what were the impressions on the pro days that we've seen recently? Because we got a chance to see Bryce Young, CJ Stroud, and Anthony Richardson. So what were the impressions of each of those three?
I mean, the only one that was a surprise was Levis. Other ones did what they were supposed to do. Did what they have done already. I mean, we didn't see Bryce at the combine, but to see him in pro day, I mean, we see what we have. Well, at least I have seen what he's capable of doing for the past couple of years. So Levis was the only surprise because we've always said that he was the least favorite of the quarterbacks, but he had a good pro day at Kentucky, which like I said, at this point now, I'm okay with getting either. I mean, I prefer at first we had Stroud or whatever, but if he's already gone, I'm still with Anthony Richardson, but I'll be okay with Levis as well.
Yeah. So then let me ask you this, because I know that you said, like, after seeing his pro day, it looked pretty good. Now you don't mind, but the thing is, do you now rank him over the other guys that you had there?
No.
Okay. All right, just checking. I'm just checking. I'm just checking for me. But yeah. What about you, Austin?
I mean, they all did what they're supposed to do, making throws with no pads and no defenders. We all knew that they could make those.
Exactly.
So, I'm still the same as I was before. It really didn't make a difference to me. I think Anthony Richardson has a cannon. Will Levis has a strong arm. I think it will be between those two. I hope maybe somehow the Panthers take Anthony Richardson, Texans take Bryce Young, and we get CJ Stroud. That's the dream.
That's the perfect way.
Happens.
That's the perfect way.
That's a perfect scenario. That's a perfect scenario. So, you know what? I'm very much, like I said, I'm very much so, like I said, I've seen the guys. I know that they can make the plays. For me, I don't know what it is, but it's just like something is intriguing about Anthony Richardson, because watching his pro day is just like he just looked like he was like already like pretty comfortable. But then also it came down to it's just like he looks like he has that confidence where he'll be able to play and he's going to be able to play at a high level and not get like caught up in the moment. Of course, once again, they're just playing in plain clothes. They're not playing with pads. They're not playing with a monstrous D line breathing down their neck. But there's something about it that just makes it like I don't know. It's just like I like Richardson. Like I said, I wouldn't mind having Stroud Young or Richardson. Levis, I mean, if it happens, it happens. But and then we all know it's just like Hendon Hooker on the outside shot is like okay, that would be pretty awesome. So I don't know. Like I said, I think we'll see. But we want to go ahead and address these last few, and then we're going to get up out of here. But he said you're giving up players of your roster and draft picks, so you're going backwards to me. Well, technically, so if you end up trading for Lamar, you're not giving up any players. Only thing that you're giving up is the draft picks, and that's only because of the non-exclusive tag. The non-exclusive tag just means that you're going to have to give up a certain amount in order to get them because that's what the Ravens have to match. So we don't have to give up any players for Lamar because right now the Baltimore Ravens have only a couple of options. They can either they can see if Lamar gets an offer, match that offer, or if Lamar doesn't get an offer and they don't get a deal done by week 10, Lamar just becomes a free agent.
Yeah. And leave for nothing.
Which would be bad for my dynasty team.
Stinks. However, it happens. I mean, like I said, it's just I don't do dynasty. I don't do dynasty for that very reason. Go ahead.
Unless he's saying Leslie Allen, I can't see the name, is saying that we had to trade prior to making that trade our players to another team prior to making the trade for Lamar for the cap reasons because I think we under 20 million and his exclusive tag is 32 right now.
Yeah. Well, the thing, so we wouldn't have the exclusive tag. We wouldn't have to deal with the exclusive tag. The thing with the exclusive tag is that that's the amount that Baltimore would have to pay based on that tag amount. If let's just say they just gave him the franchise tag, then it would have been somewhere around like 44 million that they would have had to pay. But then, you can pretty much do whatever you want within that. And there's no, I don't think there's any type of compensation that would be necessary in order to have Lamar. But in this case, since it is non-exclusive tag just means that you're going to need to pay 2 first-round picks in order to get Lamar because that's the standard. It didn't say when, didn't say, what kind of first-round picks. It just says just first-round picks. Now, in terms of players, I think that you can add in players to kind of sweeten the pot, but you don't necessarily have to.
So what you're saying is if he's traded to the team, that tag is removed and they can just go ahead and do a deal.
That tag. So the thing is, the franchise tag is something that's paid by that team because once again, that's their franchise tag. So the thing is, being that they trade according to that tag, we would have to get a deal done immediately. So it would have to be a deal that would have to be done like basically it's just like once they've agreed on compensation, then once Baltimore says, okay, we'll trade him over to you, then at that point, that's when the contract goes into effect. It's kind of like what happened with Buckner the year that we traded for him. I don't think they didn't do the non-exclusive tag, but we basically gave him the contract as soon as he was traded here because that was part of the deal for us to be able to get him.
To trade the 13 overall pick for him and then negotiate a new contract. I got you.
Yeah. So, yeah. And then, like I said, and then he said, no Levis, get the best DN. Then I'm with that as long as Hendon Hooker is the next one that's available because we have to go with that. And then it said, it's not giving up. It's the Colts cutting players to fit the cap.
I think the only person we would cut is Mo Alley Cox. We could
Kenny Moore as well.
What is it? Renegotiate contracts like with Buckner, with Shaq,
Leonard.
you know.
Yeah.
Or even Nelson.
Yeah,
But the other thing is that once again, it's just like
Yeah.
just to make sure we have the cap space. It's just like he can honestly get like 10 million this year and then just get a signing bonus. And signing bonus doesn't go against the salary cap. Signing bonuses go against team funds.
Basically, what you're saying is ways around it. It ain't just what we see in the black and white.
Like let's be completely honest here. The Rams have literally gotten by for like the last like 6 or 7 years not having any cap space, or even the Saints. The Saints are negative 80 mil in cap every year and somehow happen to figure out how to save 120 mil in cap and have $40 million. Like there's ways around the salary cap that makes it so that you don't have to worry about as much. So
The Chiefs,
it's like
the Chiefs and the Dolphins are doing it right now.
The Chiefs had $730, I think, the year before last, and then they managed to get like 20 million out of nowhere. Like how?
Yeah.
Like, no, absolutely no. Listen, there's ways around the cap, and honestly, it's just gonna be teams just finding out how to do it. So, I mean, as of right now, like I said, we'll see what happens, but I think that's all we have for today. Like I said, we'll be back on Tuesday. We're gonna do something a little bit.
Thing.
Huh?
So also just with the pro days, we sent area scouts to everybody except to Florida's. We sent like Morocco Brown or whatever his name is.
Yeah.
So, I mean, is that tipping their hand on who they're thinking about getting, or is that to show people like, I don't know, is it smoking screens, or is that who we're going after?
Yeah, I mean, it's possible because the thing is, I think we sent it to everywhere except Florida, but I think they met with Anthony Richardson at the combine.
No, we sent Morocco Brown. Like we sent a bigger name to go watch.
Oh yeah, okay.
At his pro day.
Oh, I see what you're saying. Yeah, I see what you're saying. So yeah, it could be.
I mean, like I think at this point, it's everything that we're seeing is just basically just so that teams can do whatever. I saw a report yesterday that teams aren't that high on Levis because he's deathly afraid of milk. It's just like it's stuff like that you just know for a fact. Like that's got to be the dumbest thing that we've ever seen. And here we are once again having to deal with like the same thing over and over again. Like, no, we're not doing this. We're not doing this. But yeah, so they said, so we're not doing this. We're like, no, you know what? We're going to see over the next few weeks exactly how things shape up. I think if the Colts move up to 3, then they're definitely going to be drafting a quarterback. But I mean, honestly, if you get into the top 3 territory, I think you're safe. If we stay at 4, Will Levis. That's just it. However, I also don't see that we'll have 4 straight quarterbacks gone in the first 4 picks, because I think the only other time that you would have seen something like that would have been, let's just say not even that, but it's just like during the Burrow draft, where it's just like you had Burrow, Tua, and Herbert go in the first 6 picks. But I just don't see this quarterback draft being that substantial to go and just go 4 for 4 on quarterbacks in the first 4 picks.
Yeah, they has a rumor that Seattle can move to 3.
But that's crazy because they just paid Geno too. Like, it's a lot. But you know what? We'll talk more about that on Tuesday, and we're gonna actually have a very special episode on Tuesday, where we're going to be we're gonna have a little bit of a panel. So, Colts fans, if you're looking to be on, go ahead, tap in, comment. Basically hit us up because we like to go ahead and have you on there. We got some things coming up, and then hopefully, like I said, me and Austin will be at the draft, so we actually might do like a live stream, have Josh on there so he can control Hurricane Kids over there, and then we'll be out there as HorseSHoe Mob vicariously with Josh. So yes, so we will definitely be there. But in the meantime, guys, who would, or matter of fact, just like let the people know exactly where they can find you on social media. Starting with you, Austin.
Yeah, you can find me on Twitter at CookieAustin2.
All right. What about you, Josh?
You can find me at State Your Claim Levis at number 4.
Okay, we're just gonna
No,
remove.
I am Josiah on Twitter.
All right, and you can find me at CJ Colts fan. And by the way, I am going to say this, and I'm going to say that I mean this from the bottom of my heart. But just remember that Sam loves Jalen Ramsey.